Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just days away from its official release by Disney, Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams and crew, as well as creator George Lucas, that is all set and ready to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film is going to be making many different bold decisions in the movie by JJ and will unveil many different revelations that will lead to saga-wide implications in The Rise of Skywalker that is going to change how we view the past 8 Star Wars films that come before this one, especially the characters of Palpatine and more in Episode 9. Now, with that being said, alright, we are just days away from the release of this movie. Today, December 16th, is the official premiere for The Rise of Skywalker over in Los Angeles. Many critics will be able to go ahead and see the film. All the celebrities will be there. All the actors and actresses a part of the film are going to be able to watch the final cut of the movie by J.J. Abrams, Disney, and Lucasfilm. Now, on top of all of this, alright, what's really intriguing about this film is that, yes, this movie will be making big decisions that's going to be quite controversial, which really does worry me as a fan, because we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm made some terrible decisions for The Rise of Skywalker. Now, specifically, shot descriptions consisting of a sequence where it's explained that Ben Solo is said to confront the Knights of Ren in front of Palpatine's base on the world of Exegol. The Knights are said to all be equipped with their weapons, where they begin to go into a defensive stance, where Ben Solo has no lightsaber on him in the moment. This is described to be a segment in the film in which Ben Solo begins to fight the Knights of Ren just by using the Force and also with some kicks and punches. However, Ben Solo is said to get beat up pretty bad in the fight, where eventually Rey is able to toss Ben Solo Leia's lightsaber through their own Force bond, where Ben eventually catches it and is able to strike down all of the Knights of Ren one by one, killing them with his mother's lightsaber. As this happens, a brand new theme for Ben Solo is said to play over the shot by John Williams in the moment. Another segment in the movie is explained to be in the opening of the film, where Kylo Ren is said to travel over to the world of Exegol, where he goes into a Sith sanctuary. Inside of the Sith sanctuary, Kylo Ren meets with Emperor Palpatine, where Sidious is said to unveil that he is Snoke and was behind Snoke the entire time, and that Kylo sees dozens of Snoke clones lined up inside of Palpatine's base. As this happens, Palpatine is said to have white eyes when talking to Kylo Ren, and Kylo even holds his lightsaber up to Palpatine's neck during one of the scenes threatening to kill him. Sidious is hooked up to a large machine that almost gives him a cybernetic appearance against a wall in the background that allows him to survive. Palpatine's design in the beginning of the film appears like a dead corpse, and is said to be controlled by his own Sith spirit from afar. The Snoke clones in the beginning of the film hold a slightly different design than how Snoke appeared in The Last Jedi, and that the clones are floating in a strange green liquid, where lastly one of the sequences in the movie is said to involve a battle between both Rey and Kylo Ren, where they are fighting over a shuttle that is carrying Chewbacca on board, where one of the segments involves Rey using Force lightning at the ship, causing it to crash. So let's go over a couple of parts about these different segments in the upcoming film. Now, the thing about The Rise of Skywalker is that JJ is, of course, doing some patchwork in this movie based on the mess by Rian Johnson and what he left behind and what Rian did not clean up. And this is a big part of the movie, is that in the very beginning, there's going to be a segment where Kylo Ren travels over to the world of Exegol. Now, this point in time in which Kylo Ren travels there, it's said to be a big moment in the film because Kylo Ren is able to meet Palpatine for the first time. But inside of the Sith sanctuary, alright, this actually goes over what we actually saw in the trailer a couple of days ago, where Kylo Ren goes over to the world of Exegol, where you see all the different statues and how tall they really are. That is indeed the Sith sanctuary, and that exact location is actually called the Shrines of the Sith location, where Kylo Ren is going to learn more about the very depths of the dark side of the Force. And the Snoke clones, let's talk about this for a bit, because this is going to be by far, I think, the biggest reveal in Episode 9. To me, that screams patchwork by JJ. It really does. I don't know about you guys, but to me, a lot of the different reveals in the movie almost come off as JJ trying to satisfy, certain fans that were begging for something, but he couldn't do it to his best advantage. And also, it sounds like patchwork. A couple of examples, alright? Rey becoming a Skywalker, of how she calls herself a Skywalker in the movie at the very end of episode 9, is basically J.J. Abrams trying to satisfy the fans that wanted Rey to become a Skywalker, though he couldn't, because he wanted to make Rey a Palpatine in the movie in some way, shape, or form. The other thing is this, is that Snoke clones, alright? This, without a doubt, is patchwork by JJ, being used as a way to really fix Rian Johnson in the fact that he was never able to explain Snoke's backstory before killing him, and how it left JJ with no real villain. It literally left JJ Abrams with no real villain. Because as we all know, Kylo Ren's not a real villain. He's basically a rival toward Rey. He was never really like a Darth Vader figure, or an Emperor Palpatine figure, or somebody like Darth Maul. Kylo Ren was always struggling between the dark and the light. He never got darker and darker during the events of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. We never really saw that took place. So, the thing about this is this. We do know that this movie is at least going to have one cool moment at the very end of episode 9. And I will give credit to J.J. Abrams, is that, yes, we are going to have a segment in the film where Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, destroys the Knights of Ren with his mother's lightsaber. So Leia's lightsaber will be used against the Knights of Ren. So to me, I think that sounds like something very unique, because it almost is like taking the throne room battle that we got in the Last Jedi and kind of changing things up quite a bit, right? The Last Jedi here, Rian Johnson made a lot of mistakes and left a lot of unanswered questions. And in this movie, basically J.J. Abrams wants to give us a lot of action-packed sequences. So to at least give us one action scene for Ben Solo to take on the Knights of Ren, killing them, I think is going to be one of the highlights of the movie. Again, like I say, based on what we have heard about this movie, there are a lot of elements that just scream a disaster, but there are going to be highlights of the film. Without a doubt, this movie is at least going to have a couple of enjoyable scenes. But for the majority of the film, from the way things are sounding, it sounds like it's going to be a terrible mess, based on the fact that that's all going to be a minority of the movie. The majority of the film is going to be based and focused on the Resistance, which honestly, I was never really all that invested in the Resistance. I never really cared for the characters of Finn and Poe and Rose Tico. Not that they're bad characters in The Force Awakens, they had potential, but they were completely destroyed in The Last Jedi, completely unused in The Last Jedi, and really had a lot more, to go for. They really had a lot more opportunities than what Rian Johnson even knows about. He could have done so many different things for Finn, so many more different things for Poe, etc., etc. And how Rey's going to use Force lightning in this movie, that takes down Chewbacca's ship, or the ship that he's on board of, that he's a prisoner inside of, where you basically get this fake-out death of Chewbacca at the middle point of episode 9. That's going to be the big reveal also, is that Rey knows how to use Force lightning in this movie, on accident, of course. That basically is going to be the half confirmation that she is indeed the granddaughter of Darth Sidious. We do know that this movie is all about family, and it's all about redemption, and the aspect of family is going to be about Rey's story, where she comes from, and who she really is. Not to mention that it will dive more into Ben Solo's background a bit as well. So, the last thing I just want to say here is that this movie, like I say, these different segments of the film between Snoke, Palpatine, Kylo Ren, the Knights of Ren, Ben Solo, Rey, you name it, all these different scenes in the movie, it seems like they're going to be the highlight, right? Apart from, Palpatine being able to use Force lightning on Ben Solo and Rey, and using the Force conduit technique to drain their energy. Aside from that, I feel like the majority of this film isn't really going to have highlight moments, but that's just my take on things. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.